Once again, the internet and television was set ablaze over controversial music content and merchandise of an industry artist. The most recent in the headlines now is Lil Nas X.
The sportswear giant filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against Mischief. That's the streetwear company responsible for the divisive design. Lil Nas X is not named as a defendant in the suit. The so-called Satan shoe is adorned with a bronze pentagram and upside-down cross and allegedly contains a drop of human blood in the soles. Nike said in a statement, "We do not have a relationship with Lil Nas X or Mischief. The Satan shoes were produced without Nike's approval or authorization, and Nike is in no way connected with this project."
You know, to each of you, people were saying that this controversy and the feedback that came, the backlash that came as a result of Lil Nas X in his video and his shoes was really because he's gay. Because they mentioned several other artists, Marilyn Manson, 666 Mafia, and others who have used the satanic references in their music to do that. So we'll start with you, brother Asad. Is the backlash because of him using the satanic references, or is it because he's gay?
Oh, I definitely think it's because he's gay. We can't lie to ourselves and delude ourselves. We have to be honest. There was 666 Mafia. There was our dear brother Jay-Z, who made 2 songs about Satan. One was called Lucifer and the other one was called D Evils. And there was no backlash. So I think that homophobia definitely played a role in the response to Lil Nas X's video. Madonna in the 80s was singing Like a Prayer, where she simulated oral sex on Jesus. And so this type of stuff has been in the music industry for a very long time. And I guess she did receive some sort of backlash for it. But when it relates to hip hop has been playing with Ouija boards and 666 Mafia for the last 20 years, and none of those groups received the type of backlash that Lil Nas X had. Whether you agree with his sexual preference or not, we have to be honest about what we are upset about.
So what do you say, Dr. Abdul Halim?
I think that plays a part in it. I have to agree with Doc, but I also think that is because our children and grandchildren were reciting the lyrics to his song. That the impact is different than 666 Mafia, than Madonna, than any of these rock bands. That our babies were reciting that first song, that first so-called cowboy song it was. But what's most disturbing to me is the fact that it appears that Lil Nas X is not the problem. Mischief is really not the problem. It's the people behind it. It's that hidden hand. It is as the Holy Quran says that Satan told God that I'm going to lie and wait for them in thy straight path. And I'm going to come before them and behind them and from their left and from their right. And so, as Doc pointed out, those of us who may stand on religious principles that are against that type of lifestyle, we're being interpreted. The devil always interprets this thing as hate speech. And those of us who may be more liberal, meaning on the left, we're more liberal because, in fact, we got gay people in our families. That's being misinterpreted. And those who are a little bit more conservative, that's being misinterpreted. And then they come behind us and anything we say is reinterpreted to make it all fit into this satanic state of mind. And I close with 3 points. We have to understand the power of propaganda. Edward Bernays is known as the father of public relations. And you got to understand the power of propaganda and the power of what's going on. Then you also have to understand subliminal seduction. The subliminal seduction, the things that are being actually programmed in our mind that we don't even understand are being said to us in every frame of every time a movie or television show is shown to us. And lastly, what's happening to the Black community in particular and people, the masses of people in general, we need to study this man, Joseph Goebbels, and what he did so that 1/3 of the German population literally disappeared, the homosexuals, the Jews, the gypsies, the communists, and the German people didn't say a word. It's really concerning that 1/2 of Republicans that were polled believed that left-wing forces were at the root of the insurrection that took place in Washington, D.C. This is very concerning. What comes over this? Remember what Master Fard Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, one day, Elijah, he said that we be entertaining the devil in our living room. And it appears it's coming through that one-eyed monster called the television.
Yes, sir. And the internet now and the phone. Thank you for those comments. Dr. Assad, Dr. Abdul Halim mentioned about how there are those that hidden hand behind that we don't see that pushes this artist and approves of this content. Candace Owens, and people agree with her, disagree with her, but one of the things that she said was that online to Lil Nas X was that he was being used by these corporations and these big execs to basically destroy the minds of children. Was she right in that assessment, or is she off basis?
Well, I think hip hop music in general for the last 25 years has been used to destroy the minds of children. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I can recall being in elementary school and the song was called "Give Me Some Heroin, Baby." That song got me crazy, right? And that was being played on the radio. So my whether I agree with Lil Nas X's lifestyle or not, I believe that we are disingenuous if we do not hold the entire hip hop community accountable for what's been going on for the last 30 years as it relates to the misogyny in the music, as it relates to the drug dealing in the music, as it relates to the violence against other Black men in the music. So I saw online, and I know that it may come as a surprise, what I saw online were people who were being hypocrites because they would listen to BG talk about shooting up an entire block in New Orleans and were upset at Lil Nas, if Lil Nas X is devilish for what he did in that video, then what they rap about, or what we have listened to for the last 30 years in hip hop is just as devilish. So I'm not going to condemn one without condemning the other.
Yes, sir. And what are your take on that, brother Dr. Abdul Halim?
Well, Black masculinity has been under attack since our feet hit the shores of North America with buck breaking, lynching, police brutality, the propaganda in the media that makes us look like a beast. When you look at the Birth of a Nation movie by D.W. Griffith, that we're incompetent, we're incapable, we're unqualified to hold public office, and all we want to do is sleep with a white woman. And all of this, and then we look at the mass incarceration. We're people, especially Black men, that are endangered species. So so you can again go and look at just the whole atmosphere environment that's being created now about that we are the source of anti-Semitism, we're the source of misogyny, we're the source of anti-Asian hate, we're the source of all of the evils that embody America. But you know something, if you lift our tag in the back of our shirt, it won't say made in China, it'll say made in the USA.
So, and Dr. Assad, Dr. Abdul Halim touched on it in this next question in regards to the emasculation and feminization of Black men. You know, we have seen certain leaders as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, or even Brother Rizza with his stance, whether people are promoting, pushing, advocating for the vaccine or not, his stuff has been taken off of social media. But you have the likes of Lil Nas X, and not, we don't want to focus just on him, but others. Is there an overall effort to emasculate and feminize Black men?
There's an overall attack on Black men, period, whether it be to emasculate, whether it be to exterminate. There's an overall attack on Black men regardless. And it comes in many forms. See, the devil is very tricky in the way he uses the media to destroy Black men. Brother Doctor mentioned buck breaking, and he mentioned these stereotypes that were used against Black men. It's some of the same things that, for instance, even Hillary Clinton in her use of the word super predator played into those stereotypes against Black men. Black men are an endangered species in this country.
Yes, sir. So Dr. Lim, you are a father of sons and grandsons. So what is our response to counter it, right? From your perspective, and then we'll close out on our break after you finish.
Well, first and foremost, you know, in that day, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, in that day, our righteousness will sustain us. So you got to first and foremost got to get right with your creator. You got to get right with God, and you got to get right with self. He taught us that the knowledge of self is akin to the knowledge of God. Once you know who you are, then you'll know whose you are. And that's very important. And then you then judge not, and you shall not be judged. And the best religion, Minister Farrakhan has taught us, as from his teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and want for your brother and sister what you want for yourself. That is the best religion to practice. And I try to teach my sons that and my grandsons that, and they got to make their own choices. At a certain point in time, you know, Brother Willie, that your children can't operate under your name, your holy name, or your ex in the Nation of Islam. At a certain point in time, they have to make their own decision. And all we can do is to teach and be an example of what we believe to be right. And at that point, hope and pray that our children will see the way that we see it. And if not, to see it better so that they can take our people and the human race forward.
So, Dr. Asai, you also have two sons, and we're coming up to our minute break. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to this as well. As a father of two sons, raising them to be Muslims, what do you do to combat this emasculation and feminization of Black men?
One of the main things we do is I don't allow my children to listen to hip hop. I speak with my children about what it means to be a man. And we have rules in this house. And not only do we have rules of existing in this house, but expectations of life once they leave this house, because my oldest son is walking around with my name and I'm walking around with the name of my father. So I tell him that he has a certain expectation. My father gave me a good name and I'm giving him a good name, and he has to maintain that name and hopefully give his son a good name. So we have rules. Such thing as family come first, that we want to marry a woman like your mother, that you never place anyone above your family, because we're trying to build a different family unit here, one that is more culturally cohesive with our brothers and sisters in Africa, as opposed to this disjointed stuff that we have experienced here in the United States because of the breakup of our families. I think one of the things we don't understand in the United States is the science of family. So I'm trying to teach my son the science of family and the responsibility that comes along with it.
Appreciate it, and appreciate both of you all responses. We're coming up to our next break, so we're going to pause for announcements from our sponsors. And coming up, we'll be discussing reparations with our contributors. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Asiatic Minds. Online education. Helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness, as well as the greatness of our people. And upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. Call now, 502-219-4848. Greetings from National Network View. This week's Final Call cover story headline reads, Food Shortages, COVID-19, and Fears of a Major Crisis. The coronavirus pandemic is disrupting food supply chains and hurting multiple food industries. People are worrying that the pestilence could impact the ability for Americans to eat. This FCN volume number 26 edition features the middle page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This message is entitled, The Key to Success is to Do for Self. To read more, subscribe to FinalCallDigital.com and tune in to the all-new Final Call Radio. This is the NNVnews.com Final Call Cover Report.